He had been working on the tunnel for weeks, digging every day with determination. The soil was hard, and the cold wind often cut through his clothes, but he kept going. Everyone in the village watched him and laughed. They called him crazy, saying he was wasting his time on something that would never matter. Some even came close just to mock him, shaking their heads and pointing fingers. He heard them all, but he didn't respond. He only focused on the work in front of him. Each day he imagined what the tunnel could become. In his mind, it was more than just a hole in the ground. It was a place of safety, a hidden path, a personal achievement that no one else could understand. He thought about how useful it could be someday, even if others couldn't see it yet. The harder they laughed, the more he felt determined. Their sneers felt heavy at first, but slowly. They became fuel for his persistence. The work was tiring, and sometimes he wanted to give up. But every time he put his hands on the cold soil and started digging, he felt a small spark of pride. The tunnel grew a little each day, and he could see the progress with his own eyes. The sound of the digging became comforting, a rhythm that reminded him he was moving forward, step by step. He had a quiet hope inside him, a belief that what he was doing mattered more than what anyone else thought, even when the village children threw snowballs at him and the neighbors whispered jokes behind his back. He imagined the day they would understand, the day they would see the value in what he had done. For now he focused on the tunnel, knowing that persistence mattered more than approval. Every swing of his shovel was a promise to himself that he would finish what he started, no matter how long it took. One cold morning, the wind blew harder than usual, and dark clouds covered the sky. Snow started falling, small at first, but quickly it grew heavier. The village had never seen a storm like this, and soon the streets became slippery and dangerous. People hurried to gather supplies, but many homes were not prepared. Panic started to rise. Fear was clear on the faces of the villagers. He watched the snow from his tunnel, realizing that the shelter he had built could help more than just himself. The tunnel, which everyone had mocked, felt strong and safe now. He knew the soil walls were firm, and the space inside was dry. The cold wind could not reach him, and the snow outside would not harm anyone who stayed inside. He began to think about the villagers, and how many might be trapped in their homes or walking through the storm. The thought of danger made him move quickly. He grabbed a lantern and prepared a path inside the tunnel. He wanted it to be safe and welcoming for anyone who needed it. The work was tiring, but he did not stop. Every shovel of soil, every careful step to make the tunnel stable mattered more than ever as the storm grew stronger. He saw a figure struggling in the snow near the edge of the village. Without hesitation, he ran outside and guided the person to the tunnel. Warmth and safety were waiting inside, and relief was visible in their eyes. Word started to spread slowly that someone had a safe place during the blizzard. The same tunnel that people once laughed at was now a place of hope and protection. Inside, he felt a quiet satisfaction. The tunnel, once seen as a waste of time, had become something important. He realized that his hard work was more than just a personal project. It was a lifeline, a shelter against the storm, and a reminder that dedication and patience could turn disbelief into respect. The blizzard showed no signs of slowing down. Snow piled up quickly, covering the streets and blocking paths to homes. The village was in chaos, and people struggled to move through the thick snow. Cold winds howled through the empty lanes, and it became clear that anyone caught outside without shelter could be in serious danger. He stayed calm inside the tunnel, lighting the lanterns he had set up. The warmth from the small fire and the protection of the tunnel walls made it feel safe. Outside, the storm was fierce, but inside, it was quiet and secure. He realized that the tunnel he had worked on for weeks, despite being mocked, was now a refuge for those who needed help. Word began to spread that someone had found safety in the tunnel. People who had laughed at him just days before started arriving, shivering and frightened, asking for shelter. He welcomed them in, guiding them carefully down the narrow path. The tunnel offered protection from the wind and snow, and for the first time, the villagers saw its true value. Inside, there was space to sit, and blankets he had kept for emergencies kept everyone warm. The villagers, who had once sneered and made jokes about his work, now watched him with respect and gratitude. The same tunnel that had been a source of ridicule had become a lifeline during the storm. He moved among the people, offering water and comforting words. He realized that hard work and patience often go unnoticed until the right moment. The tunnel had changed from a project others dismissed to a symbol of hope and safety. And in that moment, he understood that what mattered most was not the approval of others, but the impact one could have when preparation and perseverance met a challenge. The storm raged on for hours, and the villagers huddled together inside the tunnel. The snow outside was deep, and the wind howled like never before. He moved among the group, checking that everyone was warm and had something to drink. The fear on their faces was slowly replaced by relief, and he could see gratitude shining in their eyes. The same people who had mocked him before were now trusting him completely, one by one. He helped guide more villagers from their homes through the snow to the tunnel. Some were scared and hesitant, but he spoke softly, encouraging them, showing that they were safe. Each person who stepped inside added to the sense of community and protection. The tunnel had become more than just a shelter. It was a place where people could feel hope in the middle of a frightening storm. Outside, the blizzard showed no mercy, but inside, the atmosphere was warm and calm. People shared blankets and helped each other settle down. He reminded them gently that it was important to stay together and support one another. The laughter and teasing of the past seemed far away now, replaced by respect and understanding. As the hours passed, the villagers realized how wrong they had been to mock his work. The tunnel that seemed like a waste of time had saved them from danger. He stayed humble, not boasting about his effort, but quietly glad that his determination had made a difference. He understood that sometimes people need a moment like this to see the value in someone's hard work. In that tunnel, surrounded by people who had once doubted him, he felt a deep sense of satisfaction. His persistence had created safety, and the storm had taught everyone that patience and preparation could turn mockery into gratitude. The blizzard had become a test, and he had passed it not just for himself, but for the entire village. When the blizzard finally began to calm, the snow slowly stopped falling, leaving thick layers covering the village. The villagers emerged from the tunnel, tired but safe. They looked around at the frozen streets and realized how close they had come to danger. Their eyes turned to him, the same person they had once mocked, and now they saw him as a quiet hero. Gratitude and respect filled the air, and for the first time, they understood the value of his determination. He stayed calm and humble, helping people back to their homes, carrying supplies, and checking that everyone was okay. The tunnel had done more than provide shelter. It had created a sense of unity among the villagers. They had learned that preparation, patience, and dedication could save lives. He reminded them gently that mockery or doubt should never stop someone from believing in their work. The villagers spoke among themselves, sharing stories of how the tunnel had kept them safe. They expressed regret for their earlier teasing and promised to remember the lesson it had taught them. Even the children, who had once thrown snowballs at him, now followed him closely, listening and helping. The tunnel had become a symbol of hope, a reminder that even a simple effort could make a huge difference when met with courage and persistence. As he looked at the snow-covered village, he felt a deep satisfaction inside. His hard work, once dismissed as pointless, had become essential for the safety of many. The blizzard had tested him and the village. The result had shown the power of perseverance. From that day on, the tunnel was respected and protected. People no longer sneered at his efforts. Instead, they spoke of his courage and determination. He smiled quietly, knowing that true value is often hidden at first. But with patience and resilience, it can shine brighter than anyone imagined.